Welcome to the English Oasis. We have found our soil for today. Our journey is titled The Silent Journey Within, and we shall cultivate this experience at an everyday level, where the language is as clear as a mountain stream and as warm as the morning sun. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the weight of the world, the noise of the city, the ticking of the clock, the endless pings of your digital life. Simply melt away. You are no longer in a rush. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Here, in the oasis, time does not chase us. It carries us. Imagine, if you will, a path. This is not a path of stone or concrete, but a path made of soft, silver sand that cushions every step you take. It winds through a forest of ancient, whispering trees whose leaves are a vibrant, living green. These trees have stood for centuries, watching the world move in circles, and they have learned the secret of being still. They do not strive to grow. They simply grow. They do not fight the wind. They dance with it. Before we go deeper into this forest, if you find peace in this sanctuary, consider subscribing to The English Oasis. By joining our circle, you help this garden grow, ensuring that this space of calm and learning remains open for you whenever the world becomes too loud. Let us continue our walk. As you walk, the air begins to change. It becomes cooler, sweeter, scented with the faint, earthy aroma of rain on dry earth, what we call petrichor. This is the scent of renewal. Every step you take away from the world outside is a step closer to the world inside. You are entering the sanctuary. In this story, you are a traveler who has forgotten why they started walking. You have been moving so fast for so long that your soul is breathless. You arrive at the edge of a great hidden valley. There is no map to this place. It is found only by those who are willing to get lost. As you stand at the crest of the hill, looking down into the mist-covered valley, you realize that the silence here isn't empty. It is full. It is a heavy, velvet silence that wraps around you like a blanket. You begin to descend. The path is narrow, but you feel safe. You see a small wooden gate, weathered by time, standing open. It doesn't lock. It doesn't exclude. It simply marks the transition from the doing to the being. You step through. Inside the valley, the light is different. It is golden and soft, as if the sun is setting but never quite disappears. There is a small cabin by a lake. The lake is so still, it looks like a mirror, reflecting the sky with such perfect clarity that you cannot tell where the water ends and the heavens begin. This is the mirror of the mind. When the water is choppy and rough, the reflection is broken. But today, the water is calm. You walk toward the cabin. On the porch, there is a chair waiting for you. It is a simple wooden chair, but it looks like the most comfortable place on earth. You sit, you listen. At first, you hear nothing. Then, you hear the nothing start to speak. You hear the rhythmic hum of a bee. You hear the soft sigh of the wind through the tall grass. You hear the beating of your own heart, a steady, faithful drum that has been playing for you since before you were born. In the world you left behind, words are often used as shields or weapons. We talk to fill the space. We talk to prove we are right. We talk because we are afraid of what we might hear if we were quiet. But here, words are different. Here, words are like seeds. We plant them carefully. We don't need many of them. We only need the right ones. As you sit on this porch, the silent journey within truly begins. You aren't traveling across miles. You are traveling across layers of yourself. You are peeling back the layers of busy, the layers of worried, and the layers of tired. Underneath all of those things, there is a quiet garden that has been waiting for you to tend to it. You look at your hands. They have been so busy lately. Typing, carrying, holding, grasping. Now, they rest palm up on your knees. They are open. To learn a language, you must first have open hands and an open heart. You cannot pour new water into a cup that is already full of old tea. You must empty yourself first. The mist on the lake begins to swirl, forming shapes. It's as if the environment is responding to your presence. The trees seem to lean in, curious about this visitor who has finally stopped moving. You realize that your English journey is just like this walk into the valley. Sometimes it feels like a climb. Sometimes you feel lost in the fog, but the sanctuary is always there, beneath the noise. You find a small notebook on the table next to you. Its pages are blank, cream-colored, and smooth. You realize that you don't need to write a long essay or a complex report. You only need to find the heart of your thoughts. You pick up a pen. The ink flows easily, like water. You write the first word, peace. It's a simple word, isn't it? 5 letters. But as you look at it, you feel the weight of it. You feel the space between the letters. In the oasis, we don't just learn definitions. We feel the texture of the language. Peace isn't just the absence of war. It's the presence of harmony. It's the feeling of your breath moving in and out without being forced. You look out at the lake again. A single leaf falls from a branch and touches the surface of the water. A small ripple expands, moving outward in perfect circles. This is how learning works. One small thought, one new word, touches the surface of your mind, and the ripples change everything. You are here. You are safe. You are learning. The sun dips a little lower, casting long, purple shadows across the grass. The air grows a bit crisper, and you pull a soft, woolly cardigan tighter around you. The fabric feels cozy. Cozy. Another beautiful word. It's the feeling of being protected and warm while the world outside is cold. As the first stars begin to blink into existence in the darkening blue of the sky, you realize that this journey within is the most important one you will ever take. You aren't just learning English to pass a test or to get a promotion. You are learning English to express the soul that lives inside this silence. Stay here for a moment. Don't think about the next phase. Just be in the entrance. Feel the cool air. Hear the lake. Let the silence nourish you. You are a gardener of your own mind. And today, we are planting the seeds of clarity. As you sit on that wooden porch, the light of the fading day begins to shift. The silence is no longer a void. It is a river, and you are ready to dip your cup into its flow. To navigate this silent journey within, you need the right tools, not heavy machinery, but delicate instruments of the heart. In this phase, we encounter the flow of words. These are your heart words. They are common, everyday terms, but we will look at them as if we are seeing them for the first time, polished like stones at the bottom of a clear brook. The first word that arrives on the breeze is reflection. In our everyday life, we use a mirror for reflection. We check our hair, our clothes, our surface. But in the oasis, reflection is the act of looking into the lake of your mind. When you reflect, you aren't just thinking, you are throwing back light. Think of the prefix re, meaning back, and flect, meaning to bend. You are bending your attention back onto yourself. It is a gentle act. You don't judge what you see in the water. You simply acknowledge it. I am reflecting on my day, you might say. It sounds like a quiet ripple. Beside reflection sits solitude. Many people confuse solitude with loneliness, but they are worlds apart. Loneliness is a hunger, a feeling that something is missing. Solitude is a fullness. It is the choice to be alone so that you can hear your own frequency. In your everyday English, you might say, I need a moment of solitude. It is a noble word. It carries the weight of a mountain peak. It is the sun in solo. It is the light you find when the crowd leaves. As you sit in your solitude, you notice the stillness. This is our third word. Stillness is not just the absence of movement. It is a quality of peace. A clock can be still because it has stopped working, but a person is still because they are centered. When you practice stillness, you are letting the mud in the water of your life settle to the bottom so the water becomes clear. The morning was full of stillness. You whisper. Feel the S sound at the start. It's like a finger to the lips, inviting the world to hush. Suddenly, a bird calls out from the trees, and you feel a sense of awareness. This is your fourth tool. To be aware is to be awake. It is the opposite of being on autopilot. When you are on autopilot, you eat without tasting, you walk without seeing, and you speak without feeling. But awareness is the bright flame of a candle. You become aware of the texture of your sweater, the temperature of the air, and the way your breath fills your lungs. In everyday conversation, we say, I became aware of a change. It is the moment the light turns on. Within this awareness, you find grace. Grace is a beautiful, fluid word. In an everyday sense, it can mean moving elegantly. But in the oasis, grace is giving yourself permission. It is being kind to yourself when you make a mistake in your English or when your mind wanders during your journey. It is a soft landing. To move with grace is to move without friction. When you say, "She handled the situation with grace," you are saying she didn't fight the world. She flowed with it. As the stars multiply above, you feel a deep connection. This is our sixth word. We often think connection requires another person, but the most important connection is the one you are forming right now, the bridge between your outer words and your inner truth. It comes from the Latin connector, meaning to bind together. You are binding your breath to your thoughts. I feel a deep connection to nature, you might say. It is the invisible thread that reminds us we are not separate from the world. Next, you encounter simplicity. The world is complex, full of fine print and complicated ifs and buts. But the journey within is about simplicity. It is the art of needing less. A simple meal, a simple breath, a simple sentence. Simplicity is the oasis elegance. It isn't basic, it is essential. When you choose a simple word over a complex one, you are choosing clarity. I love the simplicity of this life. You tell the stars. It is the sound of a single bell ringing in the night. As you lean back in your chair, you feel a sense of belonging. This is a warm, heavy word. To belong is to be at home. You don't need to earn your place in this valley. You belong here simply because you exist. In your everyday English, you might say, "I feel like I belong here." It is the end of the search. It is the moment you stop looking over your shoulder and realize the ground beneath your feet is yours. Then comes patience. Oh, how we struggle with this one. We want fluency now. We want peace now. But patience is the root of the garden. It is the understanding that a seed does not become a flower overnight. It must sit in the dark for a while. Patience is not waiting. It is how we behave while we wait. You say, "I am practicing patience with my learning." It is a slow, rhythmic word, like the ticking of a grandfather clock or the dripping of honey. Finally, you reach gratitude. This is the 10th heart word, the golden key. Gratitude is the thank you say to life. It is the realization that even the silent journey within is a gift. When you speak with gratitude, your voice takes on a different tone, richer, deeper, more resonant. "I have so much gratitude for this moment," you say. It is the harvest of all the other words. Let these 10 words, reflection, solitude, stillness, awareness, grace, connection, simplicity, belonging, patience, and gratitude rain down on you. Do not try to memorize them with your brain. Memorize them with your skin. Feel how stillness feels in your body. Feel where belonging lives in your chest. In the everyday world, these are just vocabulary items on a list. But here, they are the very water of the oasis. They are the tools for your soul's survival. You are learning to speak not just from your mouth, but from your center. The lake is perfectly still now. The stars are reflected in it so clearly that it feels as if you are sitting in the middle of the galaxy. You are a traveler, yes, but you are also the journey itself. Each word you learn is a star you are lighting in your own inner sky. Take a moment. Let the synonym rain fall. Reflection is like contemplation or musing. Stillness is like tranquility or serenity. Grace is like gentleness or poise. See how they all belong to the same family of peace. They are all different paths leading to the same quiet room in your heart. You are doing well. You are breathing. You are growing. The language is no longer a barrier. It is becoming the very air you breathe. The stars have now claimed the sky, and the lake is a dark, perfect mirror. We have our tools, our heart words. But now we must go beneath the surface. To master a language at an everyday level, you must understand that words are not just labels. They are vessels for feelings. In this phase, we look at the linguistic soul of how we speak about our inner world. We aren't just looking at grammar. We are looking at the architecture of our emotions. The gentle power of being versus doing. In English, especially in our busy modern lives, we are obsessed with doing. We ask, "What are you doing?" Or, "What have you done today?" But on this silent journey, we shift our grammar toward being. Notice the difference between saying "I am busy" and "I am being still." When you say "I am busy," the adjective busy feels like a weight you are carrying. It is a state that often feels forced upon you. But when you use the progressive form, "I am being still," you are describing a deliberate action. You are choosing to inhabit the stillness. In everyday English, we often use the verb to feel as a bridge. I feel the cold. I feel at peace. Emotional, spiritual. When you say "I feel," you are acknowledging that a sensation is passing through you like a breeze through the trees. You are not the breeze, you are the tree. This is a vital distinction for your mental sanctuary. You are not your anxiety. You feel anxious. You are not your exhaustion. You feel tired. By using this simple everyday structure, you create a healthy distance between your true self and your temporary feelings. The anatomy of soft verbs in the oasis. We prefer what I call soft verbs. These are verbs that describe internal movements rather than external explosions. Consider the word dwell. In a literal sense, to dwell means to live in a place ser. He dwells in a small cottage. But linguistically, we use it to describe where our mind stays. Do not dwell on your mistakes. We say, imagine your mind is a house. To dwell on a mistake is to sit in a dark, cold room of that house and refuse to leave. The silent journey within is about learning to dwell in the sunroom, the place of gratitude and light. Then there is the verb unfold. We use this for flowers, and we use it for stories. Let the day unfold, you might say. This is a beautiful piece of everyday wisdom. It suggests that you don't need to rip the petals off a rose to see it bloom. You don't need to force your English progress. You simply provide the water and the light, and you let the journey unfold at its own pace. The prepositions of peace. Prepositions are often the small pebbles that English learners trip over. But in the oasis, they are the directions on our internal compass. Think about the word within. It is a more poetic, deeper version of inside. Inside feels like a box. Within feels like a well. When we talk about a journey within, we are suggesting that there is a vast space inside you that is just as large as the universe outside. And look at the preposition through. I am going through a hard time. The beauty of through is that it implies an exit. You are not in the hard time, stuck forever. You are moving through it. You are a traveller passing through a dark forest. The forest has an end. The path continues into the light. The phrasal verbs of the soul, everyday English is built on phrasal verbs. Those combinations of a verb and a particle like up, down, on, off that can feel so confusing. But let's look at them through the lens of the oasis. Settle down. We say this to children, but we also say it to our hearts. To settle is to sink like sediment in the lake. Wait for the dust to settle. It means waiting for clarity to return. Let go. This is perhaps the most important phrasal verb for your journey. To let go is to open your hand. You aren't dropping something with anger. You are simply releasing the grip. I am letting go of my need to be perfect. Tune in. Just like a radio, you are tuning in to your inner voice. There are many stations in your mind. The worry station, the work station, the fear station. But today, you are turning the dial until you find the silent station. The etymology of spirit. Let us look at the etymology root of a word we use often. Inspiration. It comes from the Latin inspira, which means to breathe into. When you feel inspired, it is as if the universe has breathed a new idea into your lungs. On your silent journey, your breath is your most basic form of language. Each inspiration, breathing in, is a beginning. Each expiration, breathing out, is a letting go. Your English is the same. Do not try to speak without breathing. Do not try to output, speak, write, without taking the time to input, listen, read, reflect. The music of the sentence in the everyday world. People speak in jagged fragments. But in the linguistic sanctuary, we look for the cadence. Cadence is the rhythm of your speech. Listen to the way this sentence feels. The water is still. The air is cool. And my heart is quiet. Notice the rule of three. It is a classic English structure that creates a sense of completeness and oasis elegance. The water is still observation. The air is cool. sensation. My heart is quiet, internalization. When you practice your English, try to group your thoughts in threes. It creates a natural harmony that is pleasing to the ear and calming to the mind. As you sit in the cabin now, the fire in the hearth is crackling softly. The orange light dances on the walls. This fire is like your inner drive. It needs fuel, new words. It needs oxygen praxis, but it also needs a hearth, a safe place to burn. This lesson, this oasis, is your hearth. Beneath the surface of the rules and the grammar, English is a language of vastness. It has more words than almost any other language, which means there is a precise shade for every feeling you have. You don't just have to say, I am happy. You can say, I am content, I am serene, or I am at ease. We aren't just building a vocabulary. We are building a color palette for your soul. Take a moment now. Think of one thing you are going through right now. Use that preposition. Tell yourself, I am moving through this, and I am moving toward the light. The fire in the cabin hearth crackles, sending small. Amber sparks upward like tiny stars seeking their cousins in the night sky. Now that we have felt the weight of our heart words and looked beneath the surface at the soul of the language, we must see how these seeds grow in the soil of the real world. Language is a mirror. It reflects our inner state back to the world. We will now walk through 3 life mirrors, everyday scenarios where the silent journey within transforms from a quiet thought into a living, breathing reality. Mirror 1. The morning ritual. Imagine you are standing in your kitchen. The sun is just beginning to peek over the horizon, painting the walls in shades of pale peach. In your old life, you would have reached for your phone immediately. You would have let the noise of the world, the news, the emails, the social media, flood your mind before you even had a chance to say good morning to yourself. But today, you choose stillness. As you wait for the kettle to boil, you don't feel the need to do anything. You are practicing awareness. You listen to the sound of the water beginning to rumble. You feel the cool tile under your feet. When someone enters the room and asks, "What are you doing?" instead of saying, "Nothing," you smile and say, "I'm just enjoying a moment of solitude before the day starts." See how the language changes the energy. Nothing sounds empty, perhaps even a bit bored. But enjoying a moment of solitude sounds purposeful and rich. You are setting a boundary with grace. You are telling the world that your internal peace is a priority. In this mirror, your English is a tool for protection. It keeps the oasis alive, even in the middle of a busy Tuesday morning. Mirror 2. The difficult conversation now, let us move to a different mirror. You are at work, or perhaps at a family gathering. There is tension in the air. Someone has said something unkind, or a project has gone wrong. Usually, your heart would race, and you would react with sharp, hurried words. But you remember the silent journey. Before you speak, you take a breath. You are tuning in to your center. You realize that you are going through a moment of conflict, but you are not in the conflict forever. Instead of reacting, you use the reflection we practiced. You say, I need a moment to reflect on what you just said so I can respond clearly. This is the power of everyday English used with wisdom. You aren't using big, academic words. You are using simple words to create space. By asking for a moment to reflect, you stop the cycle of anger. You bring the stillness of the cabin into the office. You are showing patience, not just with the other person, but with yourself. In this scenario, your English is a bridge. It bridges the gap between a reaction, which is fast and often messy, and a response, which is slow and meaningful. You are using your linguistic sanctuary to remain the master of your own emotions. Mirror 3. The evening wind down, the day is over. You are back home. Perhaps you had a good day, or perhaps you had a bad day. But in the oasis, we don't use those labels. We look for simplicity. You sit by the window and watch the city lights or the trees in the garden. You look back at your mistakes. Maybe you forgot a word in a meeting, or you felt frustrated with your progress. Here, you apply gratitude. You don't dwell on what went wrong. You tell yourself, I have gratitude for the lessons I learnt today. You use the phrasal verb let go. You say, I am letting go of the stress of this afternoon. As you prepare for sleep, you feel that sense of belonging. You belong in your body. You belong in this language, and you belong in this moment of quiet. You realize that the silent journey within isn't something you do once a week. It is a rhythm you carry with you. When you talk to a friend about your day, instead of a long list of complaints, you might say, it was a full day, but I'm finding my center now. Synonym, rain. The language of perspective. Let the words wash over you as we compare how the everyday world speaks versus how the oasis speaks. Instead of saying, I'm stressed, try, my mind is a bit crowded right now. Instead of saying, I'm bored, try, I am looking for a moment of connection. Instead of saying, this is hard, try, I am moving through a challenge. Instead of saying, I'm waiting, try, I am practicing patience. Do you feel the difference? The first set of sentences feels like a dead end. They are heavy and static. The second set, the oasis sentences, feel like a path. They have movement, light, and hope. This is what it means to mirror reality. You aren't changing the facts of your life. You are changing the linguistic lens through which you see them. You are choosing to describe your life as a garden rather than a battlefield. Your journey in English is exactly like these mirrors. On some days, your English will feel clear and bright, like the morning kitchen. On other days, it will feel like a difficult conversation where you struggle to find the right response. And on some days, it will feel like the evening wind down, where you simply need to let go of your expectations and be kind to yourself. All of it is part of the flow. None of it is a mistake. The fire in our cabin is burning low now, turning into a deep, comforting red glow. The lake outside is dark, but the stars are reflected so perfectly that the water looks like it is made of diamonds. You are learning that the language you speak determines the world you inhabit. Take a breath. Feel the simplicity of this moment. You are not just a student. You are an architect. You are building a home inside this language where you can always find rest. The fire in our hearth has settled into a soft, pulsing bed of embers. Outside the cabin, the deep blue of the night is beginning to soften into the first faint violet of pre-dawn. This is the moment of the blossoming. In nature, this is when the dew clings to the petals and the world holds its breath before the first bird sings. In our story, you, the traveller, stand up from your wooden chair. You walk down the steps of the porch and move toward the edge of the lake. Throughout this journey, you have been seeking something: fluency, peace, a sense of arriving. But as you look at your reflection in the water, which is now illuminated by the approaching light, you realize a profound truth. The destination was always within the journey. You are the flower that has been slowly opening its petals throughout these 40 minutes. Each word you learned, stillness, grace, connection, was not just a piece of information. It was a drop of rain. It was a ray of light. You realize that everyday English is not a lower level of speech. It is the most sacred level, for it is the language of our daily breath and our deepest heart. As the sun begins to crest the hills of the valley, you see the mist on the lake dissolve. The silent journey within has brought you to a place of absolute clarity. You understand now that you don't need to speak perfectly to be understood. You need to speak authentically. You look back at the cabin, the sanctuary that sheltered you. You realize you don't have to stay here to keep the peace you found. You can take the cabin with you. You can take the lake with you. Every time you speak a word with awareness, you are back in this valley. Every time you listen to another person with patience, you are sitting on this porch. The story of the traveller ends not with a goodbye, but with a beginning. You walk back toward the wooden gate, the one that never locks. But you aren't the same person who walked in. The person who walked in was hurried and fragmented. The person walking out is whole. You have blossomed from a student into a steward of the language. In this moment of blossoming, feel the power of the word transformation. It is a big word, but its heart is simple. It means changing shape. Your relationship with English has changed shape. It is no longer a mountain you must climb. It is a garden you are walking through. You aren't fighting to learn. You are allowing yourself to grow. Think of the word resilience. As you prepare to return to the loud world, remember that your inner silence makes you resilient. Like a tree with deep roots, you can bend in the wind of a busy day without breaking. You have the vocabulary of the soul to describe your experience. You have the everyday tools to maintain your oasis elegance. As the valley fills with golden light, you take one last look at the water. It is perfectly clear. You see the pebbles on the bottom. You see the fish darting through the reeds. This is your mind when it is nourished by the silent journey. You step through the gate. The air of the outside world hits your face. It is warmer, noisier, busier, but you carry a secret. You carry the linguistic sanctuary in your pocket. You carry the synonym rain in your heart. You are ready. You are no longer just learning English. You are living in it. You are no longer studying peace. You are peace. The journey within has led you right back to the world, but this time you know how to navigate it with grace. The blossoming is complete. The flower is open. The sun is up. The sun is high now, warming the silver sand. The story has reached its home, but before you return to the world of clocks and schedules, we must anchor these feelings into your spirit. This is the Oasis meditation. In this final phase, we will breathe together. We will speak together. And finally, I will leave you with a letter written from my heart to yours. Shadowing the silence, I will say a phrase slowly. I want you to repeat it after me, not just with your mouth, but with your whole body. Feel the vibration of the words. Let them sink in like water into the sand. I am at peace with my progress. 1. I choose stillness in a busy world. My words are seeds of kindness. I move through challenges with grace. I pause. I belong in this language and this moment. Hear how your voice sounds when it is calm. That is your true English voice. It is not the voice that stumbles over grammar. It is the voice that speaks from the linguistic sanctuary. Affirmations for the journey. As you walk back into your daily life, carry these small, everyday anchors with you. You can whisper them to yourself when the world gets too loud. I have enough time. In the Oasis, we do not rush. There is always enough time for a breath. I am learning, not performing. You are not on a stage. You are in a garden. Growth is a private, beautiful miracle. I release the need to be perfect. Perfection is a stone wall. Mistakes are the cracks where the light gets in. A letter to the learner. My dear traveller, we have sat together for nearly an hour in this silent journey within. As the lead architect of this oasis, I have watched you listen. I have watched you breathe. And I have watched you grow. I want to tell you something that the world often forgets to mention. Your journey with English is a spiritual one. You are not just memorizing sounds to get a better job or to travel to new lands. You are expanding the borders of your soul. Every new word you learn is a new window you are opening in the house of your mind. Through these windows, you will see new sunsets, meet new friends, and discover parts of yourself that didn't have a name in your first language. Do not be discouraged when the mist returns. There will be days when you feel you have forgotten everything we practiced here. On those days, to remember the lake. The lake does not worry when a storm clouds the surface. It knows that deep down, in the center, the stillness remains. You are that lake. Be patient with your blossoming. You are tilling the soil of a new life. It is okay to be slow. It is okay to be quiet. In a world that cannot stop talking, your everyday grace is a radical act of beauty. You are a bridge builder. You are a storyteller. You are a part of the oasis now. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, simply close your eyes, take a breath, and walk back through the wooden gate. I will be here. The fire will be crackling, and the silence will be waiting to welcome you home. Go now, with gratitude in your steps and simplicity in your heart. The journey is long, the path is beautiful, and you are never walking alone.